Hey guys, Jonathan was here for Jam Sports 100, the Jam Sports Show. How is it going? I am here for part two of our look at our picks for Week 1 in the 2018 NFL season. If you missed part 1, go ahead and take a look. I'll put a link down in the description for that. And so this one right here is going to be the late set of games that start at 4:05 Eastern Time. This is going to be the late set on Sunday all the way through the Monday night game. Part 1 is strictly the games that took place in the 1 o'clock time slot. So that's just how we're going to do it, at least for this week, and then maybe we'll tweak it as things go. And then at the end of this video, I will go through all the picks. That I went through in part 1. And also, down below in the description, if there's a specific team that you are looking for, I will have the time when I started talking about them down there that you can just click on and you will automatically go to it. I did it in part 1 as well. So where we left off was the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. So let's talk about that game really quick. We have the young kid versus the veteran. We have Patrick Mahomes. We have Philip Rivers here in this game. And these are the two teams right here, really, I think, that are probably the two favorites to win the West. No slight at the Broncos there, but I do think this is probably these are probably the two teams. Plenty of offensive weapons for both of these teams. Antonio Gates for the newly back for the Chargers, Melvin Gordon. The Chiefs have players like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, a lot of explosive players here, and a lot of talent on offense. Now, that could be big for Philip Rivers. The Chiefs were not very good on defense last year, and this year we'll see if we see much of the same. Right now, the Chiefs are really, really beat up. They were a bit leaky in the secondary last season, and beat up coming into this week as well. So we'll see if Philip Rivers is able to maybe take advantage of that. I think this Charger team, honestly, is really, really good. I think this is a Charger team that we could be talking about all the way up to the AFC Championship game, and potentially beyond. I really think that this Charger team really has it all. But the Chargers, the the defensive line is good. Okay, the offensive line is good. However, last year the Chargers defensive line, and get this stat right here, gave up a total of 363 yards against Kansas City. That is something that they cannot do, because Kansas City, you have to assume, is, as long as they're able to, especially in the beginning of the game, going to be relying very heavily on the run, while rookie Patrick, or not rookie, but I believe second year quarterback Patrick Mahomes gets comfortable. So I imagine that the Chiefs will run early and often in the beginning, and the Chargers could struggle a bit in this game if they cannot stop the run like they were not able to last year. I could easily see this game becoming a shootout, though, if the especially if the Chargers cannot stop the run. Um, Philip Rivers is going to move the ball in the Chiefs defense. There's no question about that. The Chargers are going to put points on the board, and if the Chargers can't stop the run, then the Chiefs will too. Plus, let's not take away once Mahomes gets comfortable. You know he will. Once Mahomes gets comfortable, he has an incredibly strong arm. Let's not take that away from him either. So this game could be a very, very fun one to watch. But in the end, I'm going with what I feel right now is the better quarterback and the better team. I've got the Chargers getting the win over the Chiefs. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. Interesting game here. A tough game to pick, I think. This Cowboys team, very, very young coming into this season. They have had a strong offensive line, as we know last year. That offensive line continues to be strong. The defensive line and the defense is getting better, but this Cowboys team is very young. Of course, the question, and we seem to have to ask it every year, but it's a question that is worth repeating because it's such a crucial thing, and the statistics show it. Will Sean Lee stay healthy? If Sean Lee does not stay healthy, the Cowboys' defense is atrocious, and there's no other way to say it. So he has absolutely got to stay healthy. Meanwhile, offensively, obviously, you assume they're going to be fine. You've got Dak Prescott, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, so I think Sean Lee right there is the big difference. And is Ezekiel Elliott, for whatever reason, going to become a distraction? off the field. Obviously, Des Bryant is gone now. To me, that's not a big deal. Honestly, if the Cowboys felt it was a big deal, I don't think they would have got rid of him. So obviously, the Cowboys don't think a ton of it either. Um, but this Cowboy team, I feel like I've heard a lot of talk about them really being contenders and good throughout the offseason. To me, I think they're a little overrated. I do think they'll be a good team. I think they're a bit overrated. You've got the Carolina Panthers here. They're going up against Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton, obviously, anyone who's followed my channel knows, for any length of time, knows how I feel about Cam Newton. He's hot, he's cold. He's definitely not my first choice. If I was picking a quarterback, he definitely wouldn't be my first choice. But I do think having Norv Turner, who is a very, very good offensive mind, will help Cam a little bit. Unfortunately for Cam, there are a lot of questions there on the offensive line, especially to begin the year. Matt Khalil is on IR. Now, the IR that he is on makes him eligible to come back after 8 games, but those first 8 games could be tough. It'll be interesting to see how the offensive line holds up for Cam Newton. I think this is a very good football game. I had a tough time making a pick for it. I do think Carolina is a little bit better, though. I don't think they necessarily compete for a division title in the South. I think the South is too strong with the Saints and then the Falcons. But I do think that this is a decent Panther team that is going to win some games, and I think they start by beating the Cowboys on Sunday. Next up, we will take a look at the matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of talk in Seattle, a lot going on in the offseason in Seattle. First of all, there was talk of the locker room falling apart. The Legion of Boom is essentially gone. There is some major turnaround going on in Seattle. Listen to some of these names in Seattle that are gone now. You've got Michael Bennett gone, Richard Sherman gone, Jimmy Graham gone, Cam Chancellor gone, Sheldon Richardson gone, Paul Richardson is gone as well. The one positive for them is Earl Thomas did end his holdout. He will be there on Sunday and ready to go. But other than that, a lot of big names for the Seahawks team are gone, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And the Seattle Seahawks offensive line has got to be better. Nobody in the NFL is hit more than Russell Wilson, and that cannot continue to happen. Russell Wilson is obviously a very good quarterback, but he needs some help. The offensive line play has been abysmal. I don't know how they're going to be at wide receiver. Interested to find that out as well. Meanwhile, not much you can say about the Broncos other than they've got Case Keenum now. And Case Keenum will obviously be a better choice at quarterback. But I think the big story in this game is Seattle and everything that surrounds Seattle. We expected Seattle to become this strong team, to become this strong dynasty after they won the Super Bowl, after they had beaten the Broncos and won that Super Bowl, and then that never really happened. They went back to the Super Bowl against New England, and then of course lost it when they obviously passed instead of handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch as they should have. Sorry, Seahawks fans, for making you relive that one for a second. So to me, this game though was a very, very tough one to pick as well, because I don't fully know what I'm getting from either one of these football teams. I have decided I am going to go with the home team though. Honestly, not incredibly comfortable either way. I know there's a lot of people leaning towards Seattle. I'm going to go with Denver to win this game. I don't feel great about it, but that is the direction I am going to go. Next up, we will take a look at the Washington Redskins and the Arizona Cardinals. The Redskins have got to get off to a quick start this year under Jay Gruden. It's something that they have not done in years past. In his years as head coach, Jay Gruden is 0-4 on opening day with the Skins. The Redskins now have, and not that they didn't have a good quarterback in Kirk Cousins, but it didn't seem to be going where they wanted it to. They have another good quarterback in Alex Smith, and if you don't think Alex Smith is good, then you're a little out of your mind. So they do have another good quarterback there in Alex Smith. They drafted Darius Geis and hoping that he could help in their running game. Unfortunately, a torn ACL is going to end his season. However, they brought in Adrian Peterson, who ironically came in to an Arizona situation last year after David Johnson had gone down with a wrist injury. So now you've got Adrian Peterson coming up again. Peterson was in one playoff game, carried the ball 11 times for 56 yards in that game. Meanwhile, you talk about the Cardinals, and there's two things. David Johnson's back. Is he healthy? Hopefully he can stay healthy. Of course, though, the question is, Josh Rosen obviously was drafted by the Cardinals. He is not ready. It has been no secret that he is not ready. Sam Bradford is the direction that they are going. But of course, the question is always, can you keep Sam Bradford healthy? Sam Bradford has had a big issue staying healthy in his career. Can the Cardinals keep him healthy? If the Cardinals can keep Sam Bradford healthy with the weapons they have, like Larry Fitzgerald, with the offensive line they have, which is a decent offensive line, I think these Cardinals can win some games, but I think to win this game, it's simple. They have got to be able to hold Chandler Jones. Because right now Sam Bradford is healthy, I think the Cardinals do win this game. I think it is a competitive game, but I do think the Cardinals get the win in that one. And now we will move to the final three games, the one Sunday night game and the two Monday night games. On to Sunday Night Football and the matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers entering their 100th season in the NFL, or entering their 100th season. So, of course, the two big deals coming into this one are Aaron Rodgers getting the big contract that he got just a couple weeks ago, and the Chicago Bears getting Khalil Mack, who was somebody that the Packers had a lot of interest in, and they completely blew their chance to get him. Now, anybody who doesn't know, you're about to know. Anybody who's known this channel, who's been a part of this channel for a while, knows this. I know the Packers as well as I know any franchise in the NFL because I am a Packer fan. That is where I'm from, and so I know everything that goes on with this franchise. And I'm gonna go off my notes a little bit here for a second and just vent just a little. The Packers made a huge mistake in not being able to reel in Khalil Mack. It wouldn't have been that hard to do. The Packers had 2 first-round draft picks. That is what the Raiders wanted for it, and it wouldn't have been that hard to toss those off, and the Packers did not get the job done. So once again, the Packers failed to do something for Aaron Rodgers. The Packers should be more successful than they are, should have more Super Bowls than they do, and I know this is old and worn out, but the fact that the Packers have had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers as their last 2 quarterbacks and only have 2 Super Bowls to show for it is not a good thing. The Packers really missed badly on the Khalil Mack deal. But anyway, back to the game. The Chicago Bears do not want to see Aaron Rodgers. I guarantee you that. Aaron Rodgers, they don't want to see Aaron Rodgers anytime. And in the last 7 games that Aaron Rodgers played the Bears, he's thrown 22 touchdowns and just 1 pick. But think about this. Aaron Rodgers missed most of last year with a broken collarbone, and the Packers were abysmal. Granted, the broken collarbone came at the hands of the Vikings and not the Bears, but still, Aaron Rodgers is going to come back with a vengeance. I expect him to have a big year, and I expect it to start in Chicago, or in the game against Chicago at Lambeau. The Packers needed to make a change. It was blatantly obvious. It's been blatantly obvious around in these parts that a change was needed, and they did that. They brought back in Joe Philbin as the offensive coordinator, and then Mike Pettin, now the defensive coordinator. Dom Capers is out, and trust me, there's a lot of Packer fans that are rejoicing that he is out. Meanwhile, you look at this Bears team, and they've got Mitch Trubisky, and I don't know about Mitch Trubisky. I really don't. He's not one of those quarterbacks. There are certain quarterbacks where you say a name, and it's like, wow. You say Aaron Rodgers, wow. Matt Stafford, wow. To a point, Matt Ryan, wow. Even though Matt Ryan did not wow anybody last night. Guys like that. And then you say Mitch Trubisky. What do you have with him? I don't think the Bears know what they have with him yet, and I don't know that he's necessarily a great quarterback in the NFL. The Bears do have a lot of talent. They brought a new guy in Allen Robinson from the Jaguars last year. And Allen Robinson was hurt early on in the season last season, but they brought him in. They've got Jordan Howard at running back, who is really good. This Bears team is young and talented. They have a lot of ability. Khalil Mack is going to be huge for this defense, and he's going to need to get to Aaron Rodgers multiple times, I believe, if the Bears want an opportunity to win this game on Sunday night. I do think that the Bears are good. I think they'll be even better in a couple of years. I don't think their time is now. I've got the Packers getting the win, and I honestly think it's kind of ugly. To me, the Packers, another one of those teams that are going to be right up there at the top of the NFL standings when the year is over, and that is me saying that unbiasedly. We move now to the first of two Monday night games. First of all, you've got the New York Jets and the Detroit Lions. You've got Todd Bowles for the Jets, Matt Patricia making his coaching debut for the head coaching debut for the Lions. I know that throughout this video there have been other teams that have new head coaches in this year, and I haven't mentioned them, so I apologize for not mentioning them. But mentioning Matt Patricia, but of course I find that one very, very interesting with him being a disciple of Belichick to see how that goes. Meanwhile, the big story with the Jets right now is them trading away Teddy Bridgewater and going with Sam Darnold. If you ask anybody, if you ask any of the experts, they will tell you that Sam Darnold is probably the most ready of all the rookie quarterbacks to go and make an impact, and he is going to have that opportunity to make an impact. This Detroit Lions team, they do have some talent to them, but once again, what are they? And that's something that we say every year. You never know what you're going to get with the Lions. Are they going to start out roughly and just continue to be rough, or are they going to start out strong and then fizzle out at the end like they normally do, or are they going to be able to actually finish the job? You never know. I really don't even know. I do know this. I do know that the Lions are probably going to have a pretty comfortable day against Sam Darnold. It's going to take some time for him to get ready to go. The Jets have a bit of a rough start to their season. I believe the first three games are away from home, and so that's just not a good way to start for them. And it'll be interesting to see. Sam Darnold's going to take his lumps and go through his growing pains here in the first few weeks of the season. I've got the Lions winning this contest. And finally, in our last game of the week, we have our second Monday night game, and that is the coaching return of Jon Gruden in Oakland as they will take on the Los Angeles Rams in Oakland. Now, a lot of interesting stuff here, and honestly, I didn't even do notes for this game, to be completely honest with you, because I have some stuff I want to say anyway. This Rams team is very, very good. Okay, there are a lot of teams in the NFL this year that the race for the playoffs, towards the middle and down the stretch in the end of the year is going to be fascinating, I think, if everybody can stay healthy. You've got Jared Goff, who is really good. You've got Sean McVay, who's a really good head coach. Todd Gurley, obviously, a really good running back. The Rams have a lot of talent at wide receiver. The Rams' defense is good. Everything about this Rams team is pretty good. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have the Oakland Raiders, the return of Jon Gruden, a man who has not been a head coach in this league for 10 years. Does that matter? And to be completely honest, yes, it does matter. So much has changed. Yes, he did the broadcasting on Monday Night Football, but so he's been around the game, but it's different now. The locker rooms are different now. The players are different now. Everything is different now. And I think we've kind of seen it through training camp. I think we saw it with the way the Raiders, in my opinion, mismanaged the Khalil Mack deal. I think the fact that they traded him away was not good. And to be honest, I really like Derek Carr, and anybody who knows me and has been around this channel knows that I'm a big Derek Carr fan. I think he's in a really tough spot right now because I don't think the Raiders are in for a very good year because I don't think this Jon Gruden thing is going to work. The game, I think, has passed him by too much. He's been gone for too long. It's going to be fascinating to watch, but potentially for all the wrong reasons. This Raiders team is going to win games, but they aren't beating the Rams on Monday night. I have the Rams getting the win. So, there you go. That wraps it up. Once again, don't forget to watch part 1 if you have any interest in doing that. I will put a link in the description, but if you don't, I will just run down the picks right now really quick. I have the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals and Indianapolis Colts. I've got the Colts winning that game. The Steelers and the Browns, I'm going with the Steelers. Titans and the Dolphins, I've got the Titans winning that game. 49ers and Vikings, I've got the Vikings getting the win there. Texans and Patriots, I'm going with Patriots to get the win. The Bucks and Saints, I am going with the Saints to win that game. the Jaguars and the Giants. I've got the Jaguars winning on the road in that game. Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I've got the Panthers over the Cowboys, the Broncos over the Seahawks, the Cardinals over the Redskins, Packers over the Bears, Lions over the Jets, and the Rams over the Raiders. If you want to know why I made any of those picks, especially in the early games, go ahead and check out part 1 of the video. Like I said one more time, I'll say it again. The link is in the description. Speaking of links in the description, don't forget to like the Jam Sports Show page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Links, as always, are down in the description there. That is where the college football game for tonight has been picked, and also the pick for Thursday's game as well. We did win that game. For those of you who want to know, we did have the Eagles getting the win over the Falcons, which they did. But if I ever don't make a pick here, it is probably on Twitter and on Facebook. Go ahead and give that stuff a like. College football picks will be up for the Saturday games a little bit later on. So, thank you for joining me, and like I said, I'm going to find different ways to try to tune this a little bit, because I don't actually still love the way this went, but I'll fine-tune it, work on it, and see what we've got. And until next time, I am Jonathan Mosette for Jam Sports, the Heart of the Jam Sports Show, and I will see you guys later.